Come on, everybody, let's start the show. A quick ahoy hoy and away we'll go. Richard's got a minifig and Flynn's got a pin. The gang's all here and it's time to begin. Tricky Bricks roll call. Moto, Holly, Kara, and sometimes Blair, Clicky, Logan, Ms. Thing and Angela, and Thunderman Ho! Now you're here to grab your bricks and let's go to the Tricky Bricks Build and Chat Show!
Ahoy, ahoy, friends! Did that surprise you?
Good morning!
Oh no, and I forgot, I cut myself shaving. I had a big old Kleenex. Wow.
We've been ready for hours.
Talk about taken by surprise.
Logan's sitting right here. He's very excited that the show is starting as well.
Yes. So, hi, everyone. Ahoy, hoy. Good to see you.
The show almost started without us.
So there's actually some construction going on in the apartment next door, so who knows? I know, it's gotten very wibbly. Who knows if, hopefully you won't be able to hear that, but, you know, if you do, that's what's going on.
How about that?
There we go. All right. So here we are. It's our first Friday show of 2022.
It is the kickoff of season 3.
It is. Well, the kickoff of season 3 was last Sunday.
We can have more than one kickoff.
Yeah, this is the Friday kickoff of season 3 Friday.
I don't know football, so we can have as many kickoffs as we want.
Anyway.
I knew that was a football thing.
All right, friends. Hope you have your coffee and are ready for a fun and exciting
or orange juice or twig tea.
All right, and I've got, wow, that's loud.
It is.
So, what have
by the way, your
doing?
shirt today is divine.
Thank you. It is divine. Literally, it is divine. So I'm what have we got going
Minifig Nick, awesome.
So we are getting ready to head down to Bricks LA this weekend, as you well know, and it is a builders only event. There is no public. You must show proof of vaccination, and it will be masked the entire time. So I have to say, I feel okay.
We're not quite sure how a convention could be safer. Like, they seem to have planned really, really well.
Yeah, so
remember we enjoyed the Bricks Cascade Bricknick as well. There were lots of plans that made it a safe event.
Right, and that's why I know we always advocate for being safe, and we are definitely being as safe as we can possibly be.
We have space age masks.
We do have space age masks. We're going to be in like full body suits, like hazmat suits while we're there.
Wow, Flynn, this is as far away as I have ever been from that mosaic. I was trying to think what it'll look like on a table with us down
at
the
a distance.
aisle.
Yeah, so we're taking our Everyone is Awesome mosaic to the convention, so that should be fun. And I know I talked about this on a broadcast earlier, but hang on, I'm gonna grab these.
Oh yeah.
Well, I should say the printer has been working overtime. And this
requires a lot of care. You've been at that printer long periods of time.
It's true. So check it out. We've got the brick rings that I've been working on. I'm really, really excited about these.
Hey, check this out. Here, I'll put this big one on here. It's a little loose, but then you can walk around.
Yes,
with
and
stuff right on your ring.
You know I will have Sebastian on my ring. And this awesome fella on Twitter posted this, and he had made it because his son wanted like a Lego ring, so he made this for his son, which I think is absolutely adorable. And then people were so excited about them, he actually resized them to a bunch of different sizes
while maintaining the studs in system.
Right. So I have printed up a ton of them, as you can see here, for Bricks LA to give out to people. So I'm excited to get to do that. They need a little bit of cleaning up, but that'll be a fun project to do before we go. So there we go.
Yeah, we should bring that cleanup stuff with us. I love that Johnny Cat knows his ring size. I have no idea. My ring size is like this size.
I'm going to do orange ones. That's the only color that I didn't get to. Like the only color of filament I have I didn't get to was the orange. So I'll definitely be doing some orange ones as well.
It's funny, all the colors were there except yellow, and then once you added yellow, to me they looked a lot more like Lego.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of like blues and reds and greens and nothing like super poppy, but yeah, of course, yellow.
Abby, purple.
Yes, Abby, there is purple in there. I also have some lavender filament that I didn't use as well, but I figured since I had purple, that kind of covered the purple family.
Well, we'll have to make one of those for Holly. That never gets old.
Indeed. Okay. Well, hey.
You know, I love that we make ourselves laugh.
I know,
at least we
hilarious. We have here.
Hey, Zach Martinez.
We have here. Let's see what's going on here.
What is going on?
We have here some pins.
Oh, we do.
And I gotta say, not only do we have pins, but we've made the pins much easier to see. With thanks to Clicky and a little computer work from me.
Well, who knew that Clicky was also a programmer?
I know. All right, here we go. So you want to show yours first?
Okay, I hope this works. It should. One of my favorites here, Oswald.
Very cool.
Check that out.
And I have this awesome gift from Kim. This awesome Walt Disney World 50th anniversary Peter Pan's Flight.
And it's got that font, that Fantasyland font.
Yes, it's got that great font. It looks just like the little sign that hangs out in front of the ride. So this is pretty awesome.
And I gotta say, Clicky did a great job on the focus there. How did that work out?
I didn't have to go, no. No, I'd actually look at that. Look how awesome that is.
I know, take that, Kevin and Brenda.
All right. They do have really good focus.
They have like a space age webcam.
They do. Well, I think it's like a camcorder.
Wait, the space age is no longer the future, is it? I don't think so. Not as much.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so I'm going to put that on.
Yes, Abby the Brick Squirrel. One of my favorite things in all of the Disney attractions anywhere is when you fly over London in the Peter Pan ride. It's so beautiful. Yeah,
I really do. It's quite a good effect. I mean, I think that that one and the Haunted Mansion are the sort of like the older rides that have really great effects in them, like old school effects that still are very effective, for lack of a better word.
That was nicely put. You should be a poet.
So everybody, why don't we are going to say hi to everybody who's in the chat. So make sure and give a big ahoy hoy in the chat there, so we fill it up. And one of the things that we're going to kick off with before we start with our main subject is we're going to talk about our challenge, the first challenge of 2022. And we're going to give it to you at the beginning, and then we'll also reiterate it at the end, because I know not everybody stays for the whole time.
This is a cool one, and it's, if you don't have a lot of time, you can still do this challenge.
It's thematic, which I like. So, speaking of, here we got, let me see. So if this might give you a little clue of what the upcoming challenge is. This might give you a little clue. But
it's Sebastian.
It's the Sebastian challenge. It's not, though. But first of all, we are going to say hello to everybody in the chat. So let's see who all is here today. So we've got Two Humble Bricks is here, Abby the Brick Squirrel, Brick Jedi, Brickaroo Bonsai, Chris Clem Fandango, and Toast Chalice. I love Matt Berry so much. Can I just say how much I love Matt Berry? Darren Siegfried is here, Fabufan MKE, Hooded One, Johnny Cat, Minifig Nick, Monica Berry, and Moto, and the M-scapades are here. We've got Matthew Builds Bricks is there too. Hello. We've got Patrick Wismer, Pete W, Rob Ketcherside, Rob Zaccardi, and the Zaccardi's Lana, Elena, and Vanessa. Hello. How's it going?
On a snow day.
On a snow day, we got Team Jade Bricks, the Hornburgers, ahoy hoy Hornburgers. We've got, that's us, Zach Martinez, and of course, Zarkino Kim. And a big bonsoir to Wilfred, wherever
you are.
So, wow. Oh, I see Nicole Neri is here. Hello. Welcome, Nicole. I don't know if we've seen you here before. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you. And my mom's here. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Lise.
I wonder if your dad will stop by today.
I don't know.
It's a special day for him, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, they just moved, so they've been very busy. We'll see if we see him.
And we'll see. Okay.
What a fun crowd. And this is a first ever Tricky Bricks Build and Chat show today.
First ever?
Well, we're just doing not first ever show, but we're just taking it in a new direction.
We are. So for season 3, we kind of talked to you all a little bit about what we're going to do, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But
I distracted you.
First, let's talk about the challenge. The new Hello Apples, how's it going? We have got the new challenge for the first challenge of January of 2022. So, and we've been kind of like waiting off. We've been kind of like holding off on this one.
You might say it's a colorful challenge.
It's very colorful, and we would encourage you to use color. This one is all about color. So as you know, we put together the Friends Main Street building a few weeks ago and did a review of it, and we sure loved it. What a great...
Yeah, the whole really overall thing, just the way it went together, it was a riot of color and detail, sort of like a Friends modular a little bit.
Right. Aubrey's here. Hi, Aubrey. So what we thought we would do is to kind of... Now, I mean, we've done similar-ish things before, similar challenges before, but this one has sort of an eye towards if we're able to be together soon for a collab, that this is something that could possibly be used for a collab. So what we are challenging you to do is build an apartment that could easily fit into that Friends apartment building. And fortunately, those are a very specific size. So we have here, it's an 8x16 plate on the bottom.
How awesome to have an 8x16 yellow plate.
Right, an 8x16 plate on the bottom. And you can see that it's got all kinds of furniture and things, bits and bobs. We've got furniture. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be contained into that space. You can have push-outs in the front. You can see that it has, like this one has a little balcony.
But it should, there should be an 8x16 surface that can go on top of or underneath the other buildings. And
in a new one, like usually we do little habitat builds or rooms, but this one actually has a ceiling. Okay, so we're gonna do. Look at that! I did the white balance.
Magic.
Too. It's got a ceiling that can connect onto other buildings, and here is another example. This is the pink apartment. This is like, I believe I can't remember whose apartment this is exactly. I don't know what that's doing in there, but an Iron Man's helmet is in here for some reason. I don't understand, but okay.
We understand that you may not have brightly colored plates in 8x16, so you could do it with other plates, or you could make the base can you make it out of smaller plates? If they're attached on the inside.
Yeah, as long as they're attached. But so the idea being, and here's a look at the front or the top. You can see now. You don't have to do this exact layout, and we will post some pictures on the website, and on Discord we will post all of the bits. So it is a 8x16 base that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 bricks and a plate tall.
Wait, does that count the roof?
Sorry, 7 bricks and 2 plates tall, and then a roof. So actually, the roof is tiled. So the roof is, I beg your pardon, the roof is 7 bricks and a plate, and then the roof plate is how it goes. All right. So
is the overall thing 7 bricks and 2 plates?
It's
Let's count that again. 1, 2, 3,
it's base
4,
plate,
5, 6, 7, and 3 plates. So that makes 8 plus a plate.
Well, I know, but see, we've got it's 7 bricks and then a layer of plates. I'm going to show you how this works.
Yeah, there we go.
It's got 7 bricks and then a layer of plates on top of that, and then the roof plate.
Oh, which in this
and then
case
the roof
is
plate
tiled.
is tiled on top. Okay, so we'll post a little bit better explanation, but and you can see we've also got push outs here, this window and balcony,
breaking the box a little bit.
exactly.
Right?
And the idea is that you would tile the roof so that it could either be the top apartment or it could use these jumper plates to connect to another building above it.
Now they need to be either that kind of jumper plate or 2x2s, right? 1x2 jumper plates wouldn't work for this. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes, hooded one. It is 8. It's 8 brick. The total height of this is 1 plate and 8 bricks.
Yeah.
But it's just important to know that it's 7 bricks, a plate, and then the roof plate.
That's the only reason you need to break this top brick level into plates is if you want to tile the top.
Which you do if you want it to
right?
connect. Yeah. So we're going to, and like I said, I will give, I'll take some pictures of this and post them up so you can see exactly how it needs to be.
They sort of fit easier together than the habitats.
They do. They do, absolutely. And we don't often do things with a roof. So that means you can do fun stuff like a hanging lamp. Or some such, like anything that you might want to hang from the ceiling.
Well, and if your apartment is a top apartment, you could even have like a patio on top.
Yeah, you could have a little patio, little roof garden, or what have you.
Chimney. Sounds fun, and I think it's going to be really colorful. And I wonder how much detail you can fit in that little space.
Well, and what I'm excited about with this is if we do decide that we would like to have this be something that we show at an event,
like Bricks Cascade,
this is very easily mailable.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to make it to the convention, this could be mailed to someone to bring for you, which I love. So, all right. Well, that is, and we'll explain again. We'll explain it again at the end. We'll talk about it. But again, that is your assignment for this first. I shouldn't say assignment. That makes it sound like school. That is going to be the first challenge of this year is to create your own Friends Main Street building apartment floor.
And there's all kinds of.
And if you want to do more than one, feel free.
All kinds of characters live in Heart Lake City, so really the theme could be, it doesn't only have to be like people who save animals, although it could.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so
yes,
that is
the Tricky Lug apartment complex.
But and I do think like a focus on color is a good idea. Like how make something that would fit in a Friends set.
Sure,
if you can. But our rules are pretty loose. So you've got 2 weeks on this one. And that means we will be showing them on, let me take a look at the...
your little calendar?
At my little calendar here.
Right there.
Oh, that's right. So this will be due on the 21st.
Yep.
On the 21st.
Well, it's
and it'll be
evening of the
due
20th.
on the evening of the 20th, and we will show them on the 21st. Yep. Is the back wall 2 studs on each side? Here, let me take off the roof. Let me take off the roof piece, and then you can see what it looks like. Sort of.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, hang on. I just want to pop this off real quick. There we go, and this.
So it's really only one stud thick unless you do things like doorways or balconies.
So it's one stud thick all the way around.
And then this was just, these were pushed out.
Yeah. Right? Oh, I see what he was asking. Is it 2 studs on this back wall? Is it 2 studs on each side to create these little walls? Yes, it's 2 studs.
Yeah, I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can absolutely use minifigs. Better yet, mini dolls if you have them, since this is supposed to be like a friends thing. But if you don't have them, that's fine.
Heartlake City is an inclusive city.
It's true.
Minifigs totally would fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Abby the Brick Squirrel says, nice thing is that the instructions are on the app for the basics. Exactly right.
Oh, yeah, right.
So if you wanted the basics of how this is put together, you could absolutely check out the app, and for the friends, it's called I believe it's called Main Street Building.
Yeah. Well, and I think people will have all different approaches for how to do this, but if our Mega City build from Lego Masters was any indication, you should figure out whether you have all the technical pieces you need before settling on a color palette.
Exactly.
Because it's so hard to have 7 of 8 dark pink pieces.
Yes, and we will, and that's something we're going to talk about also in a little bit. So there you go. There is the challenge, which we'll go over again at the end. But I think this is going to be really fun. I'm very excited about it. You're going to try this, your first challenge. Oh, 2 humble bricks. That's terrific. So glad to hear that. That is great. Always love to hear people going to try their first challenge or and send it in, and we'll be able to take a look at it.
Oh, we got wiggle cam today.
Yeah,
I'm going to be cautious about the table.
Ever since we rearranged the studio, it's got a little bit more wiggle to it.
Yeah, it was a studio remodel.
So, now that's out of the way, I think it's time for our Friday feature, which we haven't done in several weeks. You've been sitting on this since, I mean, not literally,
for a long
but
time.
You've been sitting on this for a couple of... been sitting on this for a little while.
I'm sorry, it's a little dusty, but it came out of the crypt.
Chris says, I'm getting back into my Lego mojo. Chris, I totally get it. I'm in the same place.
That's where we're at right now.
And, you know, that's kind of part of why what we're doing, you know, we're going to be sharing this road to the Lego house experience with y'all is because after a couple of years of, you know, doing this show and also simultaneously having some, I don't know, pretty intense mental health issues, I finally feel back in things again. So I'm very, very excited to share that with all of you and the experience of reawakening the fun of building.
And we're turning a little to Tricky Lug, you know, we're turning a little to Tricky Lug and say, let's all support one another in our big projects and our little ones.
Absolutely. All right. So let's do our Friday feature. It's time for Thing from the Crypt. So, Richard,
what could it be?
Do you want to do you want to hold this up to the camera?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so
what we've got here from 1979, when I was a junior in high school. Is that right? No, 80. No, I'm sorry, much earlier. I graduated in 84, so I was an 8th grader when I got this amazing Casio VL-Tone. Right there. And it still works. I managed to not melt the batteries inside it after all this time. I've never been much of a musician. I've tried lots of things. I tried clarinet, I tried piano, but I was so excited about the Casio VL-Tone. And what I discovered, because I like spooky things, is if I, let's make sure it works here, if I stayed to the black keys, I could make things that sound like, oh, yeah, it's turned up. Isn't that spooky?
It sounds like outer space. Okay,
right?
so,
And you can tell that we're both piano players, that we're so good on this. It has a special function. What were you going to say, Flynn?
no, you go ahead.
It has a special function, and my mom and dad probably heard this so many times. You could press this one little button here.
Wow.
See all the notes going by there?
Oh, so you could play this then, right?
Yeah, and it's also a calculator.
Well, and I noticed like all of the keys are numbered, and then it has the different like samba, swing, rock 2. So how do you make those happen?
Let me see if I remember that rhythm. Let's see,
Okay.
bossa nova. Okay, rhythm. And I think you can make it slower. Right? Is this awesome? You can begin the begin. Let's see. Rumba. How cool is that? How old was I? 79. I was like 13.
How do you make it stop? Make it stop.
Stop. Reset.
Ooh. All right, so
And
apparently,
I will point out, it's a calculator too.
okay, so it was, now this is the VL-Tone, right?
Yep.
So it says the sounds were mostly composed of filtered square waves with varied pulse widths.
Wow.
The piano, violin, flute, and guitar timbres were nearly unrecognizable abstractions of real instruments.
This is right.
It also featured a fantasy voice and a programmable synthesizer which provided for choice of both oscillator waveform and ADSR envelope.
It's true. It was a real synthesizer. You could make your own sounds.
Well, I want to know what fantasy sounds like. So that was piano. This is fantasy. Sounds the same.
Oh,
Sounds the same to me.
that's guitar.
That's a guitar. And a flute.
Well, it's sort of a flute of sorts. Whoa, I see what you're going for there.
I played green sleeves, but it was really more like green half sleeves.
Yeah, kind of like lime green.
A quarter sleeves.
Well, so that's our thing from the crypt for today. That is the Casio VL-Tone. It gave me so much joy for into college.
and probably everyone around you so much pain.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And multiple bands have actually used this as well. It's got it has a line out here, so people have used those drum tracks.
There you go. Woo! Oh my goodness.
Oh, the jelly beans. I gotta say, I got scared. I didn't finish all
You had
the jelly
so many
beans.
bad ones in a row.
I did. I think I did 5 bad ones in a row on streams, and I just decided I didn't want to take a chance on getting one of the grosser ones because they were pretty gross.
This is pretty disgusting. I almost got green sleeves. I was almost there. I got like 3 notes of
It was
it.
close. I think an hour or so, and you would have been there.
Whenever I'm like plunking on, whenever I'm plunking on a keyboard like that, I just always think of that Bugs Bunny cartoon.
No, you consarned fool. And of course, Johnny Cat knows that the VL-1 was used on Tria's song Da Da Da.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and Joel, do not worry. We have our N95 masks with a cloth mask, cloth mask
And I
over top of it.
I did little mask fixing thing yesterday. I inserted wires, and we got these nice shirt fabric masks to go over the top, and I put wires in them. It's great.
Yeah, we
could not be more ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's time for the main event.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I just did that.
Actually, I need you to riff
Barbra
for just
Streisand.
a second while I step away, and I'll be right back.
Yeah,
I know, a little- shuffleball
Is that? No? Okay. So it's stretch. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we, as soon as Richard gets back, we'll be talking about that. We don't have the rights to that. Yes. Oh, yes. And what Joel is saying is true. They are now recommending N95 or KN95 masks as, preferred to cloth masks if you're going to be out in public. All right. You're back.
Yep.
Okay, good. Whoo! I was tap dancing as hard as I could go.
Good job. Logan, it's not quite cookie time yet.
No,
but
he's still got a few minutes, but he's very excited because you got up and then you walked away and came back. He's looking very cute right now.
Now, I remember a little ways back, we gave a tiny preview to our Patreon subscribers, but that's the only people on the planet who know what we're about to talk about.
Well, and now you're going to know.
That's what I'm saying.
Whether you like it or not.
That's what I'm saying.
So what we're talking about, of course, is we are presenting our work in the Masterpiece Gallery at the Lego House
in Billund, Denmark.
In Billund, Denmark, in September, and we've kind of danced around it.
Well, there was a good reason. It was put off for 2 years.
Yeah, it got put off for 2 years. We danced around it. We dealt with we kind of like started and then stopped and then started and then stopped, and then of course for me anyway, the mental health played a role in not being able to get further along with it. And I just want everybody to know that is a real thing and that you should not be ashamed of it. And you may not be and feel creative every single day. And you may go a long time without feeling creative. And that's okay. I know, like for me, I felt a lot of pressure. Another thing that I felt a lot of pressure was with Lego Masters and feeling that everything that I had to produce had to be absolutely perfect. And if it wasn't absolutely perfect, then I shouldn't be showing it or sharing it. Well, I think that's dangerous.
I had some of that same stuff with like any mechanic that I did had to be really sophisticated. Everything had to be like, if people aren't asking you if it should go on ideas, then it's not good enough.
Right. Exactly.
And so we end up putting a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, we did. We put a lot of and probably unnecessary pressure onto ourselves, I think.
By Blair Archer.
By Blair, we'll see, and Fabby Fan, we'll see you later.
Blair Archer with his skeptical look. We might have mentioned a little bit to Blair.
But we, it's a very real thing, and we've all been through a lot of difficult times in the past couple of years, and we've shared those times together sometimes, and also dealt with them on our own sometimes. But I feel the real thing is no matter how you're feeling about it, feeling guilty doesn't do anything for you.
No,
I spent a year or more feeling guilty, and it's just it's a hard cycle to be in.
Well, where I've come to with it is like I tell family and close friends who I don't see all the time. It's like, rather than feel guilty that we haven't talked, let's feel really excited that we're talking right now.
Exactly.
And feel good about that. And I feel the same thing about building. It's no secret, we build as a team. We do our own projects, but our biggest things we build together. And we haven't always been on the same page of like, I'm ready to go. Well, maybe I'm not today. Or, okay, now I'm ready to go, but you're not today.
Right.
And we're on the same page now, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and wise words, Mom says we can be our own worst enemy sometimes, and it's going to be okay. It's true. It's true, and I feel very positive and ready to like grab it with both hands and run, and run with it. So I'm so excited that we're going to get a chance to kind of share this with y'all. So.
Well, plus we built our biggest thing that we've built so far in 6 months, and we have 9 months.
Yes.
So I think we're going to be able to make something really detailed and new.
Okay, so what the deal is, they've given us a space in a case where we will be sharing a case with, I believe, 2 other artists. In the Masterpiece Gallery in Billund, and they've sent us measurements, and we definitely, we had the option to bring either a bunch of small pieces, or we could bring one big piece. And I feel like what we are we work best working on big pieces together. And
I love it. I love having a big thing you work on over a long period of time and just refine it and refine it.
Right. I mean, just like theater, right? Like you work and you like you were saying, you refine and refine. But I know a lot of people, Joel, you are so not our worst enemy. Oh my God. Believe me, my brain can tell me way worse things about myself than you ever could, I promise. And Chris says the Masterpiece Gallery is right at the top of the house by the dinosaurs.
Ooh, very cool.
So Owen says, Minifig Nick says, I did go out yesterday and picked up some Series 22 and a couple of sets. I'm glad I did, as it made me feel 100% better.
Yay,
very good.
That's cool.
So anyway, we have a certain amount of space, and we decided that instead of doing small pieces, we would do one big one. And we kind of had a discussion about what is it we want to do, what are our inspirations, where do we want to go. And we get the question a lot, how do you start building a MOC? How do you approach a large scale project like this? And you can kind of try to explain it, or you can just show people. So that's what we're doing.
So the things we're going to show you are a little bit further along in the design process. What are the first things that we did?
So the first things that we did was start to look, and here I'm going to actually bring up a couple of things. Whoop. Sorry, I gotta grab my keyboard here.
Oh, okay.
We are coffee, says me. Exactly, lots of coffee. And that is finding out what inspires you, and what what do you have a deep interest in, and is something that you're going to feel comfortable working on for a long time, because it is a long process, and there is, I believe, a lot of or at least I do anyway. I go through. It's like a roller coaster where sometimes you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever built. And then other days you're like, what am I even thinking? Is anybody going to like this? And I feel like we saw that a lot during Snake Queen and California Dreamin' both.
Well, and then you just hope and hope and hope and hope that you don't go online and find your piece already built.
Somebody else has already done it. But you know what? That's the thing, too. We've talked about that before. Whatever we would do would be different. And there's not a whole lot of ground that's been covered that hasn't... that nobody's ever done before. I think that's kind of the thing that you have to remember is everything's been done at some point. And so you just have to make it your own, right?
If you go back through tens of thousands of years of history, it was probably already painted on a cave somewhere. Yeah, that's close. Look, that one right there.
So what we decided to do is that we wanted to do something that had to do with Greek mythology. We are both huge fans of Greek mythology
for a long time.
For a long time, like when I was in school, that was my whole jam. I loved reading all of the myths. I loved reading about all the different gods and goddesses and the monsters, and Clash of the Titans was one of my favorite movies growing up. And so we decided to take that, and again, a subject that has been touched on many, many times, but how can we put our own spin on it? How can we make it how can we make it something that we would do?
Well, and there's Ray Harryhausen as well.
Yes. So I'm gonna real quick here.
That's a pretty good one that you have up there.
Yeah. So we started off by we started off by thinking, like what are some things about the mythology or that would inspire us. And for me, one of the, and I think for both of us, let me see.
Can you get that? I think there it is. Go. Awesome.
For me, one of the highlights of representation of Greek mythology was not only what am I saying?
Take a second and get this image up, because it's hard. It's hard to do both things at once. Well, exactly. some of the earliest things that we do is start searching for pictures. Like I go and grab a ton of pictures, that are either thematically related or color related or texture related, and I find often, and we've talked about this before, when Flynn finally gets that, not finally, but when Flynn gets that flash of inspiration, that's the moment. Like, he starts laughing and he has this idea in his head. Where I tend to put that idea together through pieces, he gets this eureka moment. And I think this subject that you're bringing up right now is that eureka moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely knew that part of it would be inspired by Clash of the Titans, but it's very gritty, and that's not really our thing, right? Like our thing is all about color and fun, and so what we kind of settled on was like Greek mythology by way of Fantasia.
Yep.
And that kind of became our jumping off point for, and here I can enlarge this a little bit. You don't need to see me.
Here's
this.
Hi.
So this is kind of where we took inspiration for color palette and just general design. This kind of like Art Nouveau take on Fantasia.
Yep.
So we're this is what, like, I really love that tree, for example.
Yeah, the asymmetrical shape of it, the way the color goes against that pastel sky.
Yeah. So this this picture in particular was one that we started looking at it. Miss Slowbrick says, "Once I start giggling, I know I have something." Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
That is exactly right, and that's how that's how I know that I've hit on something, is if it's if I start giggling. So Joel says, does the Lego house need to approve your MOC? How involved are they in the design build process? So they do have to approve it. Like, obviously we can't just like build something sight unseen, but we presented
but it's better than that.
Yeah, and we presented this idea to them, and they want to see progress. They would like to see progress photos or design drawings or what have you, but they are not, like checking in with us every 2 weeks and going, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going?
No,
it's definitely not like that at all. They've got a very hands-off approach with that. I think they trust the artist enough to know, like, judged on their past work, to know what they're going to do and how they're going to handle it.
Well, the way they one way they put it is that they want to partner with us on curating our show. They know what works well, in their gallery. They know what the people who come to the Lego house are looking for, and they just want to take that experience and add it to our experience as designers and builders. And it feels like that gives me a lot more confidence, than just saying, here it is. So Flynn touched on this a little bit. We're going to make one big piece that basically fills the space, which means I'm going to measure things about 26,000 times to make sure that it's going to fit in there, on their pedestals and with enough height to spare, because it's reasonably big.
So I'm sorry. I'm trying to. So Joel had a question about who the artists were on this, and I don't see. I'm kind of looking it up. I don't see anything.
It might be hard to find
right away. But I think there's so much fun. Like the colorful wise goes on. Hey, Cowboy Tornado, how's it going? Ahoy, howdy.
I have something to add to that
please.
as well. So Flynn had this idea that's really based in the kind of Art Nouveau background of Fantasia with those silhouettes and those colors. And I've really been focusing on color a lot and this just sort of feeling of what the color should feel like. And for me, it led me to the Impressionists, where you have these big brush strokes of color right next to one another. Like not so much pointillism, but where this feeling of color comes from a lot of things right next to one another. And I think Lego lends itself to that because you're not really blending colors, you're putting them adjacent one another. So I was led to Van Gogh and some of the softer Impressionists who would correct me if I'm wrong on this, but maybe Monet. That's just what I've been thinking of. And as we go on through the season, I'll show you some more of those inspirational pictures.
Now here's another picture that was that I was inspired by when we were first putting this together. Sorry, it's gonna take me a second here to get this.
Oh, is it way off screen?
There we go. This is another one from Fantasia that I was really taken with. Especially that round sort of. Hey, Axel Plate, how's it going? That rounded temple.
It's like
the trees in particular and the color of the trees in this was big for me. So, so that's kind of how we start off the process is by finding inspirational pictures, things that we...
let me see that again
we really
for just
like.
a moment.
Yes.
Another thing that really spoke to me about this is you can see really photorealistic representations of ancient Greece, like what did Athens look like, and what do cypress trees look like, and what do the buildings really, really look like.
Yep.
We're going for a more fantasy approach.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think our trees, our foliage, our landscape, the shapes of things are all going to be much more fantasy oriented than photorealistic.
Absolutely. And, and I gotta say, I'm kind of in one way, in one of the ways I'm glad that we waited on this is that now we have the opportunity to include coral in our color scheme.
Hopefully in a more happy way. Carl is always so serious.
Coral is very serious. But, friends, we are actually a little bit behind on the pause that refreshes. So we're going to take a little pause because, friends, it is Logan Cookie Time. Hi, buddy.
Oh, I know.
I know he's very excited. Here, we're going to tilt down. There we go.
See? Look how happy he is.
Oh, whoa, wow.
Oh, no.
No, he's slobbering. No slobbering all over the thing.
You can have that one.
Oh, no. Here you go. Slobber on the build space. Oh, gross. And let's do one.
And we're going to try this one. Oh, I have cookie on my hand. This one may work. I don't know. It's hard. Okay, stay. Stay. He got it!
Yay, Logan.
Good boy, Logan.
And that has been Logan Cookie Time.
We're going to make a little change here to the desk because we had an incursion of slobber.
Wow, that was... Oh, now we have an incursion of sticker. Here, I'll pull that off.
Good job.
There we go. All right. Oh, my goodness. That was something.
Logan is always an adventure.
All right. So the next thing that we generally do when, once we've gotten the initial theme, and we've looked at some inspirational photos, and I will say that we keep these. We will keep the photos around. When we were doing Snake Queen, there were ones that we returned to over and over and over again.
Yep, I have a magnetic whiteboard or blackboard by my desk, and I love having the photos on there because I just want to be swimming in the ideas when we're working on it. Just morning through night, I want to be thinking about the piece. When I'm
David
not at work.
C. Krause Jr. says, hey, I am happy I get to see Cookie Time. First time in a long time I could watch live. Thank you, Snow. So glad to have you here and glad you were able to be here on time for Logan Cookie Time. So, and I know some places call it like a mood board or an idea board or something like that. But when you're going on a long-term project, it really does help to have those images to return to. I feel.
We also take huge amounts of photos on the way.
Yes, we take a lot of photos, and
work.
it's interesting, and it's also interesting to see like your progress. And one thing I would encourage is that while you're building, that like when you really start getting deep into the building process, that you definitely take time to step away and come back and look, because
with like fresh eyes.
Yeah, because there are many times. Many times there is. You can get too deep into it, right? Like you're too far.
You can get lost in one, 2, 4 studs and lose the shape of the overall thing. Especially if you're building with someone else, you got to continuously make sure that you're both kind of headed the right direction.
So Axel Plate says, is this how you made a Lego house mock or how you're going to make one? It's how we're going to make one. It's how we are making one right now. And we are going to be in the weeks and months to come building parts of it here on Fridays, like every other Friday that we're not doing a slideshow, we will be working on this piece, maybe some other things sprinkled in here and there.
And then maybe
we'll definitely be doing some updates on that.
Yeah, and something we're really aiming towards is that you'll see progress every week.
Yeah, absolutely. and sometimes it might be a check-in, because I do kind of want to get back to doing some designer interviews and talking with obviously we're going to have sets coming up. I think we're going to start doing our reviews when we do them as a separate filmed, non-audience participation, just kind of, we're going to do a video and put it up.
Yep.
So, yes. So that's kind of like how we do, that's how we kind of start the process. So the next thing we move on to is making sketches. It is... I feel, for me anyway, that sketches are vitally important, because I need to have like an end goal in mind. And obviously you can't just build the entire thing and be like, okay, that's what I want it to look like at the end.
Well, it's true. You can't at least we can't start with brick 1 and build continuously to the end like when you're building a set. There's all these iterations and unbuilding and changing and like that. And then again, I don't know what's inside your head. So one of the best ways faster than doing it in bricks is for you to show me in a drawing, and we go back and forth with those. Right,
especially when we're working, when you're working in tandem with somebody on something, it's very easy to kind of have different ideas about.
Albert Lee, absolutely.
Yeah, Albert says, it helps me to show work in progress to other builders and taking their feedback seriously as reasonably possible. Absolutely. Good night, Chris. We'll see you later. I think that's important, because you can, and I think this is true in lots of art, like the meaning of what you intend and then the meaning that people actually see can sometimes be very different.
Well, okay, I want to, we may have talked about this on the show before, but I want to remind you of a collaboration. You were the wig stylist for a show.
Yes.
And one of the cast members, maybe even the pianist, was explaining. Flynn and he were collaborating, right? Flynn's the designer, and the performer wanted to explain what he wanted for his wig. And how did he explain this in detail?
He said, because I started, I was like, so what do you want it to look like? And they said, kind of. And that would have been a time when, like, having a picture would have been really helpful.
Right. It's supposed to look like Farrah or
right. Well, I mean, who knows? Hi, Melissa. How's it going? Monica says, I'm that crazy person who just starts putting bricks together. Well, we do that too. But when you're working with someone else and you're working on a piece as large as what we're talking about, you have to there's a certain amount of pre-work that has to be done. As much as I do like to sit down, and again, this is just our process. We're not saying that this process is going to work for everyone,
this
or
is
for every mock.
A window onto what we do. We're not saying anyone should build this way.
Yeah, I just
don't build the way we do. Heavens!
Oh my goodness. Well, and also, I there's a certain amount of like, do we need Technic at a certain point? And if so, that's something that kind of has to be planned out. Was that sign language for zhuzhing? Yes.
It was.
100%.
It was.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm trying to find my mouse. When it disappeared.
I'm gonna put this down.
Oh yeah. So the next thing again that we were talking about is drawings. So this is the initial drawing that we sort of discussed together.
This is a print of a drawing that I did that we developed together in scale on graph paper.
Look at that!
Wow, it mostly fits.
Look at that! Instant zoom out.
There, now you can tell exactly what it's going to look like, right? Yeah. Well, maybe it takes a little explanation.
I don't know. Oh, there's my mouse.
So this is in scale. You see, I put a minifig down there. Minifig height is 5 studs. And so 1/8 of an inch on this one is 1 stud.
Now, I will mention that this is probably a lot more work that goes into making a drawing than most people would do, but you have a background in drafting, and so this stuff is kind of is very important to you. And also we wanted to know about size.
That was one of the most important things. With Snake Queen, we could make it whatever size we wanted because the height of a convention hall is very high. But we have a ceiling inside the display space. So this is more developed than the drawings we did for either of our 2 big pieces.
Yeah, well, and those were really more, when we did those other ones, they were really more sort of piecemeal. Like we were like, okay, this is where we want the castle to look like, and that was a drawing.
And here's the village.
Here's the village, and this is what we want. That's what we want this to look like. And I will say this is absolutely Richard's like drawing because I'm a terrible artist.
Well, but that said, Flynn drew the profile of the tree and I drew over it, and Flynn came up with the scale of these figures we'll talk about in a second. So it was a real collaborative process. I just did a lot more of the finishing work on the drawing.
Yeah, so we do know how wide and how deep and how tall it's going to be. Do you have those measurements?
Yep.
And we've laid it out, like we've laid it out a couple of times.
It's
so
60 centimeters deep.
Okay, 60 centimeters deep, yes.
By 90 centimeters wide.
90 centimeters wide. And then how tall did we end up being?
This tall. I don't, it's 2 base plates and I think it's 2 1/4 base plates or something like that.
2 1/4 base plates.
Something like that. We'll have to double check it.
Yeah, we have height isn't so much the issue like as figuring out what the front to back and the side to side was going to be. So Rob Ketcherside said, "Is this a richer advanced drawing something you took from having to use the sketch pads in Lego Masters?" No, actually we have always worked this way.
A little secret, I hated the sketch pad in Lego Masters.
They are like the most maligned piece.
I like paper, and we found that see, it starts out rougher just on graph paper like this, and I know a 32 by 32 base plate like that. So, we've been drawing our ideas for a long time,
right? Yeah, I mean that's always been something that's important because again, I need to have this kind of like, I need to have this sort of something to look to, and I will also say that it may end up looking nothing like this.
Yeah, this is just a start. It's to give us something to wrap our heads around. Do you want to talk a little bit about what they're seeing here?
Yeah. So
it's a front view, right? This is the base of the pedestal.
Yeah. So you're looking at a front view. It will be, it will be deep, and we decided that we kind of. Well, we were also thinking. Not only were we thinking of how we were going to build it, but we were also at the same time thinking about how are we going to ship this, because this has to be shipped internationally, right? This has got to be yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot here that has to be done, and so I'm gonna pop that brightness up a little bit. There we go.
Well, let's talk about what the different areas
Right.
are and what they're looking at, because it's kind of hard to tell like what's going on in here.
So we wanted to have something that would go, much like Snake Queen, would tell a story sort of as you look, you know, either from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. And what's so great about I know there will be some gaps, but are you allowed to use any glue? I'm sure we could if we wanted to.
We're not going to.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as possible, we're not going to.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you know what? I'm not morally opposed to glue, but we want to make sure that it is buildable in Lego.
Right. Exactly. So, so what we decided is one of the great things about Greek mythology is that there is always something happening in every part. There's something happening below the surface. There's something happening on the ground level, and there's something happening way up high. So those are the kind of sections that we decided to build upon. Also, I will say that another source of inspiration for this was a video game that I was playing for a little while.
Oh, was that Phoenix Rising?
Phoenix Rising, which also has a very sort of Fantasia-esque Greek mythology landscape thing going on. So what we started off first was that we wanted to definitely include the underworld because spooky.
Yep. So here is ground level right here.
Yeah, so ground level would be this top, and this would be below. And we decided that we would sort of create these three little sections that were
almost like shadow boxes,
like little shadow boxes, like little stages that you could like look into and see what would happen. So we have Charon on the river Styx with his boat over in this section. And
the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and the idea would be that the river Styx would run through both of these little sections here, and then this would be Hades and Persephone's throne room.
Yep.
We also I think wanted to include, and this was something that kind of evolved later on, but we wanted to make sure that we included like a section with Hephaestus and the you know, all of the anvils and all of that business.
And with that in mind, this entire structure that Mount Olympus is on the idea is it's a volcano. Right, and so you've got down here where Hephaestus is making the weapons and all that sort of stuff. There would be some lava, you know, a combination of like lava and the river Styx.
Right, and then this section would be the underwater area with Poseidon, and that would continue a sort of water surface that would continue along the ground level up top.
And this sort of undersea world with Neptune's throne and mermaids and all that wraps around the side of the piece.
And now I realize we are kind of like going back and forth between the Greek and Roman names of things, but yeah,
we'll stick more closely to Greek names, I think.
Yeah,
in the piece, and there'll be descriptions of these. And so we have call outs to Greek architecture here with these Ionic columns supporting the things. And this is the kind of thing I think about immediately is how do you do a structure of all of this without it collapsing? So what happens when you get, now we're from undersea, we're onto like water up here and land. What happens then?
So this is sort of our middle ground, and we wanted to have, you know, levels. Like we wanted to have different levels of things going on. So this is our
Albert Lee, you're absolutely right. And the Lego House has given us permission to use third-party lighting in the piece.
Yes, so those will definitely be lit. That was one of the things that we asked them right off the bat. Can we use lighting? And they were like, yes, absolutely.
Good point.
So the other thing that we wanted to do that we included in Snake Queen and California Dreamin', and I think this is probably more akin to California Dreamin' than it is to Snake Queen, where Snake Queen had one main story with smaller stories going on, where California Dreamin' kind of had small stories all around, is we wanted to have small stories all around. So we've got our 3 or 4 stories down here, and now our ground level is where we want to include some more of the myths. It's almost like a myth like
Storybook almost.
Storybook, and sort of like search and find, like, can you pick out the myths that we are using in? And I will say that it was difficult to try and squeeze them all in.
Well, we have three stories actually going on here. One is the story of Persephone leaving Demeter and going to the underworld.
Leaving Hades. Yeah.
No, Demeter, her mom, right? Up on the surface.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right? And then, winter happens. We've got trees here. Or we were thinking maybe this is spring because Persephone is coming up from the underworld out of this cave and leaving a trail of flowers behind her. And then sort of Elysian fields. And then who's this over here looking at himself in the water?
Narcissus. That's the Narcissus story. Oh,
and Echo.
So, yes, Alexander 23, there will be a Cerberus. Absolutely 100%. We will have Cerberus in there. And Hooded One says, is the underworld the full depth of the available space? It is not. It is going to be a truncated version so that the rest of it can be solid for all of this weight to sit on top of. It's probably, I can't remember how many studs we decided it would be deep.
Well, here, we still have more to say about what's going on up here, but just to get you an idea about how we think about it, this is our front view. And then can you turn this over to white? And here is our top view.
A little harder to see, but
right, it's a little light there, but here's our temple on the cliff. Here's our mermaid lagoon under here. Here's the river Styx. So these are walls that prevent you from seeing more deeply into the piece. Flats, almost like little theaters, here, here, and here. So it only goes back about maybe 8-10 studs.
Right, something like that.
And we've also included on the side here that you'll be able to see in this way, and then you come around the side and you can see in this way, like these little stages.
Yeah.
So that's from the top.
All right, so back to this. There we go.
Yes, Alexander 23, we need lots of structure for the weight above.
And so not only are we going to be working with levels, but we also want to work with sort of force perspective. So we decided to have this sort of big mountain with little temples and trees kind of going up, right? All up here. And then while we talked about this being a volcano, sort of with lava coming down, it sort of transforms magically into Mount Olympus at the top after we have, so these are sort of our cloud layer.
Yep. And these are actually, there's a background behind all of this, like
a big flat backdrop.
Yeah, in between this cliff and this tree and Mount Olympus, you're going to see a large mosaic of the sky behind everything.
Hey, JK Brickworks is here. Hello. Wow, great to see you.
Hey,
welcome. That's like Lego building
exciting.
royalty.
You're I gotta say, not to put you on the spot, but you're kind of my Lego heroes. Awesome.
That's awesome. Good to see you. Let's see. We've got Bricks and Mortar is here. Hello, Jamae, and congratulations on your engagement. Sorry, I can't come up with words today. I'm like,
well, we got a lot of irons in the fire. So just so we don't confuse people too much,
yes,
there's this road going around this cliff here that takes you up to these different levels of the city and the temple at the top of the cliff. And, this sort of like Delphic temple here.
Well, and these will be micro builds too.
Well,
that's the thing, right?
Is they're going to, as they get further and further up the hill, they're going to be smaller and smaller scale. Like this is a really big temple at micro scale.
At micro scale, right. And then we have like our cloud cover. And one of the stories we definitely wanted to tell was the sun chariot.
Right, Apollo.
Apollo on the chariot with his horses. We wanted to have a nod to Mount Olympus where we could include some gold. And then this is personally...
It's a little like Oz up there.
Yes. A little, yeah, it is a little like Oz up there. So the mosaic background is also supporting the clouds. Yes, so we did a sort of a cloud cover like this on our Candyland piece that we did. And we were able to sort of build outwards and create these three-dimensional clouds. We also did something similar on Lego Masters when we were working on that.
We also want there to be a sort of ombre in the sky, like whether it's a sunset or a sunrise. It gives us a chance for these horizontal layers to cut across the verticality of the rest of the piece. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear you talk about these. What are those?
Okay, so one of the big things that and here let's go to this for a minute, just to give people a little bit of a different.
Hi, we're still here.
My hair. So one of the things that one of the parts in are there any ancient Greek-looking minifigures, mini dolls? Yes, there are, and we are going to be including all of those things in there. There will be mini dolls and minifigs. So I'm very excited. We've already started collecting, and we've had some people kindly sending us some things to include, which I'm very excited about.
You're gonna have some winged sandals or helmets.
Yes, we got the winged helmet. So here is, and that's the thing, is like over the past year, we've been just like collecting little bits and bobs here and there. Hello, also, or hoy hoy.
Got a lot of mermaids.
So anyway, so back to the top portion. One of my favorite parts in the Fantasia version, and the pastoral is the music that's playing during that, is you get this sort of like cloud with Zeus, who is like throwing lightning bolts down, like gleefully throwing lightning bolts. And at one point, I love it. He kind of like, at the end, he kind of like rolls over and goes to sleep and uses his foot. He just kind of like pushes one of the lightning bolts off the cloud, and it just
for
kind
the
of like
last
falls down.
thunderclap.
Yeah, very clever. I love that.
So I even showed lightning.
And remember, I was saying we wanted to really like give a sense of scale. So what's going on up here was my idea was that we would have 3 large brick-built heads of the gods and goddesses sort of peering over the cloud and looking down at something along, probably bigger than this, but something along these lines. This is the werewolf that I did.
He's done a number of mosaic portraits, and I think they may be twice as big.
Yeah, so they would definitely be bigger than that. And then so they would be these, definitely Zeus, and I think Hera, and I'm not sure who we decided the third one would be. I think that's still an open question.
Yep. But you see, like Zeus is actually, there's lightning bolts coming down through the clouds.
And one of the things I really want to see is sort of like his fingers kind of gripping the edge of the clouds,
like
as he's
Kilroy?
like peering. Exactly. So he's just sort of peering over. I mean, just to get an idea of size. So that's my idea. Yeah.
I just want to say, who was it? Axel Plate was saying, would we scan that drawing and color it? And it's a funny thing. I'm very comfortable with color in lighting design, and in my technical light plots and CAD drawings, I use color to help explain things. Coffee. And I know how to draw in pencil, but I have the hardest time making color drawings. I got to go from these black and white drawings pretty much to starting to work with color in bricks. I feel a lot better about color in bricks.
Well, it's interesting, right? We've talked about this before. We drop that off in the sink, and then that one can be there.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before, but a lot of the Lego artists actually work a model completely in white first, and then, I mean, not that we would do that because we don't have the kind of ability or bricks to like build the whole thing first, and then and then redo it again all in color. And that's actually a really good segue into what we were going to talk about next. So after we finish the drawing process, we kind of start talking about color. And color is really, really important to us and came into play not only in Treasure of the Snake Queen, but also in California Dreamin'. Like, we really wanted particular sections. So, hey, Iceberg, how's it going, Mel? Good to see ya.
Well, we wanted to tell a color story,
Yeah, we wanted it to. We like to tell color stories, and we like to, like, for California Dreaming, we were like, okay, well, the Western town, obviously, we're gonna do in shades of brown, and we thinking about like Western movies and like what are the color palettes that are used to express the West? What are the color palettes that are used to express, orange groves? For example, what are the colors used to express Disneyland, and how they can be different and yet still all sort of be part of the same thing? Now, one of the things that I'm really enamored of, especially like in this picture, is the color of those trees, like the purple and the fuchsia combined with the green. I think it's just absolutely stunning, and that's definitely something like pink trees has been a big thing for me. So JK is saying, JK Brickworks is saying that we had an entire day to rebuild our models and set up, which was nice. Yeah, so we'll definitely be needing that. We'll definitely be needing that time for sure. And I really love the color palettes, and we've got these yellows in here. So I think that we can really kind of do the same thing. So what we would now start talking about is, after looking at our drawing, would be starting to look at, and unfortunately this is not the greatest. There we go.
Here, I'm going to turn this over again to have, if it's not too bright, let's see if it messes with the camera.
Yeah, I'm going to do something real quick here, a little bit of technical thing here, so give me just 1 second.
Well, I can tell you, when I was pulling these plates for this morning, I see one of the big challenges we're going to have in making a colorful piece, in that it was challenging to find, I decided 2x8 plates in these lavenders, in this, what I always call kind of Cinderella or Elsa blue.
There we go, that's a little bit better.
Just limited numbers of plates in the colors that we want to work with. Mm-hmm. Or bricks in general.
Right. So we would. So then we would decide, though. And I'm sorry. I want to flip back over to the other side real quick.
Oh yeah. We can leave it up like this.
Oh, they're saying, yeah, they were very accommodating. He was tweaking his pretty much right until the end. Yes. Absolutely. We will be doing that. I mean, that's definitely what we did. When we did Snake Queen, oh my goodness, we were still like adding things on when we got to the convention.
It was like an 8-hour setup.
Yeah, it was a long setup. So now what we would start to try to do is talk about, okay, what colors would we use in these different sections? Obviously, the underworld, we're probably going to go with lots of blacks and reds, right? And maybe dark blues.
Dark red. But then when I see that, I think, wow, it's going to get really...
That's orange, by the way. There's no coral on here, right? Yeah. No coral.
It's, with these, like if the river Styx, I have the idea that it has lots of red in it. And what did we just... Oh, it's a game we just saw that had the red hands.
Yeah, the red hands come from Hades, actually. Yeah. It's another game that's a great inspiration.
So I think one thing that would be really helpful here is maybe some gold. And it's tough to tell there, but that's really shiny gold. We need some kind of highlights in addition to the fact that we'll have lights under there. And I think we'll probably put the figures in brighter costumes so that they stand out.
So then we would say, okay, so that gives us this section. So then what would we be talking about for the sort of, I put dark blue in there.
Yeah.
What would we, where would we go for the underwater? And obviously we can be a little bit more kind of colorful over here. And I think maybe some of these blues, some green.
Yeah.
Right, that would be kind of, and again, all of this is subject to change.
Oh, of course. No, this is just where we start, and we do a lot of negotiating back and forth with what it's possible to build in. Me personally, in looking at any given section, I like to see not more than 3 main colors. Like if we're doing blues, then we may want a contrast in it, like maybe either some yellow or something else, in contrast to the blue, and then a highlight and shadow.
So, then we're talking about like, here's our mountain. And it's probably going to have a little bit of orange and red in it, right? Because lava.
A little bit. Like, I'm thinking maybe when we see inside this cave, there's lava. But I have this, and we haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I have this overriding sense of pink, yellow, and orange in the foliage. Like, it's some kind of, like, somewhere between the most fantasy spring and autumn combined.
Yeah, I would think, I think definitely purple, too, is another color. Like, these colors we were talking about, just looking at on here, are some great, I think, to use for our trees and items. And obviously, a lot of white and gold in our temples, and probably, I'm going to guess, some red roofs. You grab another red?
Like those, almost like, not Spanish tile, but... Well, I guess like Spanish tile.
Well, there's lots of, like just, it's something to pop, right? Like you want to have the pop.
Right? So if we create it's almost like doing one way we think about it is doing like a watercolor wash in the background and then highlighting your figures and your stories in front of that.
So definitely we would do some reds and oranges here with our Apollo.
I think this is going to need to be darker down here.
Yeah, like we could have maybe some dark blue as well.
Yeah, and that way we start like feathering the color between the two. Like this is going to be much darker down here, but maybe the columns are in gold or something. There's columns all through here in gold.
And Axel says at the moment it seems like you use blue at the left and red at the right side, and that is definitely how we start off, and then just like what Richard was saying, we'll start moving the colors across so that there is a cohesiveness to that, right?
We also think about, as a lighting designer, I think about logical motivation for light. And in this case, the sun is right there. We've got Apollo's chariot. So in my mind, the source of light in the piece is here, which means that this side of each of these faces will be lighter as if lit by the sun.
That's for Halloween.
And maybe the tops of the clouds here would be lit like from the sun. And then all of the light and shadow is this way. So on the right side of all the pieces is much darker, and on the left side of the pieces is much lighter.
Well, now that's something that we actually have not touched on yet, and
you and I about this piece at all.
Well, no, this is something we talked about, but we haven't told them about yet.
Got it.
We also really want this to have a painterly feel. And when I say painterly, I mean that we will not just rely on lighting to give us light and shadow, but we will actually be creating light and shadow with colors. So these clouds will not be entirely white. They might have a gray or another color along the bottom, right? Or, along the top.
Is there any tan?
Yes.
What if we cover some of this brown with tan?
Yeah. So almost think of the Starry Night that's going to get made into a Lego Ideas set.
Oh yeah.
It's very painterly, and that is the kind of idea that we want to get across for this particular piece, right?
I think we need a cool contrast to these.
Dark tan, maybe?
I think dark tan would be good. And I'm covering up the bolder colors some because I think of this orange as a highlight.
Right.
I think of this purple or this magenta as an accent color. And so what I've done here is I think this is starting to look more like a color palette with a little bit of highlight, a little bit of shadow.
Yeah. So this is kind of, I mean, and obviously we still have other colors and bits here, but
we'll edit too, right?
Right. So this is just a sort of general overlay of what we might use in colors for these particular, like these sections. And this will also definitely have green that comes over here as well, right? There'll be a lot of green space.
Yeah, I think we'll probably weave this lime green through a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And then also there'll be like translucent highlights in the reflecting pool here for Narcissus and Echo. So I don't know, it's a little like we have a long way to go with color on this, but I'm starting to see 3 different color stories.
Right.
Underworld, the mountains, and then the sort of celestial or Olympian world.
Right. And then, and you know, again, this will be
Can I have another
this
pink?
sort of ombre blue. Light pink?
Yeah, I think we'll have some light pink up in Olympus with the white. And then our contrast to this, since these are both warm, is we'll have some blue sky behind it. So I don't know, this is kind of a riot of color here, but it reminds me of the kinds of swatch books I would pull when doing a lighting design.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, if you sew or work in fashion, then you will probably see people like cutting swatches out and pinning them on, you know, like much in the same way when costume designers will pin the sort of like bits of cloth that they're going to use for, you know, for a particular costume.
Yep. And we can add this to our color board. You know, when we start thinking about, we're not going to build it all together. You know, when we start building the chariot, we might think like what colors specifically are in here versus standing it out from the cloud. And the iceberg, that's awesome. Thank you. It works really well for us.
Yeah.
And so the biggest things that we've talked about for the beginning to this point is we had our theme, we had our silhouette, and then now color.
Yep.
And then I start thinking about structure next a lot. And we collaborate on all of it, but what do you think one of your next steps would be? Like mosaic making or figuring out what trees look like.
Yeah,
often you focus on surface treatments, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of focus. I do a lot of focus on surface treatments and color, and I think probably elements. So it's, you know, it's hard to say. Like I really kind of bounce back and forth between what I'm doing, because. Sure, I could go all in on trees right now, but if I make a bunch of trees and then they don't end up being used, and I will say that too, there is a lot that will end up on the cutting room floor. Right? I mean,
like a other whole piece.
Right. Like, I mean, there's definitely been times where we've come up with, I know there were several abandoned things from Snake Queen that we just didn't end up using.
Well, we're doing a reasonably complex piece, and we want people to know where to look. You don't want to get lost. Like, do you ever see a picture of something on the web and you can't zoom into it, and it's like a riot, and it's hard to tell exactly where to look or what's going on? We want there to be very clear focus for our different stories. So we're going to edit down and edit down and edit down. And that's where other people's opinions really come in handy a lot too, right?
Well, I did. So one thing I wanted to mention, we kind of talked about this before, but so you can see that we have a hole in the mountain here. And one of the things is like, okay, well, these are going to be a lot of dark colors. Like, how do we bring, like, if we want to tell a story over here, how can we bring color into it? And one of the things that that I've thought of since the very beginning was that I wanted to have that this was the beginning of spring, and that we wanted to have Persephone coming out of the cave here along this sort of like scorched out earth with flowers behind her as she's walking. So like, she's
bringing spring with her.
Exactly. So like as she walks, the flowers are coming behind her. A very, you know, a pretty, I think, tropey image. Like we've seen that a lot, but that resonates with people, right?
Yeah, and you know, we also, in the theming of this, tried to come up with something that would appeal not only to different ages, but also people who don't share a same language.
Right. Right. Well, and that's something too, right? Like this has to appeal. There's so much to think about. Like this has to appeal to an international audience. This has to be understood by anybody who just even casually views it. Right.
Yep.
So that's part of the challenge, right?
Wow, I'm really excited. This is the first time that we've looked at color in this way for this piece, is right here in front of you.
Right, so you're definitely seeing this in real time.
You're seeing the low res version.
So I guess my I hope that this has been, and the Hornbergers actually mentioned, they said this has been inspirational. I'm so excited. And I hope that this is something that y'all are excited about and will be excited to see more of in the coming year, because this is definitely where we're going to be.
Yep.
So we have we've come to the end of today.
Yep.
And
I
just
did
saw a
wanna
lot of the
just-
starting process, but yeah.
I did want to just respond quickly to Albert Lee. Absolutely, you don't want to camouflage your mock with too much stuff and colors. So while we pay a lot of attention to interweaving the sections organically, we go through afterwards and we think about, do we want a large diagonal to pass through the whole piece, right? We edit things down for flow.
Right. Yeah, oh, yes, exactly. Edited lightly for flow, like an interview in a magazine. Exactly. So, yeah, this is like I said, this won't be every week. It'll probably be like every other week. We'll be coming revisiting the project and kind of show you where we're at. And one of the things that we will start off. Sorry, I should mention there is no show next week. So we will be out of town. So there is no show this Sunday, nor is there a show next Friday.
There may be a quick pop in on Instagram.
Yeah, we may be popping in on Instagram to do some lives from the con. But that will be, we will not be having the next two shows we will not have. So just be aware, but it gives you plenty of time to work on your challenge build, which we talked about at the beginning, but we're going to talk about at the end again,
Look at you
too.
looping back.
I know. Look at me. We are building, or I should say we/you/we all are building an apartment that could fit in with the Friends theme, and particularly with the new Main Street building. All right. We are not going to Alabama. We are going to Los Angeles, is where we will be going. This is the next week's challenge. You are going to start off with an 8x16 base plate, and you're going to build a little apartment that is 7 bricks high, 7 bricks and a plate. So base plate, 7 bricks, a layer of plates, another 8x16 with tiles and jumper plates on top so that it can have something attached to the top of it.
And if for some reason you want to work with very colorful base plates and you don't have ones that big, you can use whatever one you have and tile on top of it.
You're right, and tile on top of them to bring it together. So this is the idea. Here's another one, and we will be posting some photos of this standard. And as Abby mentioned earlier, you can also go online or to the instructions app and download the instructions for the Friends Main Street building to see exactly how these are put together. And you don't have to feel constrained just by the 816. Feel free to have push-outs in the front if you like. Like this has a little balcony. Some of the other ones, now we don't have one of the ones here, but some of the other ones that we have had a little sliding door that stuck out in the front that was really cool.
That's one of the places I usually start is, where's the door? How do people get in? Do they...
Right.
If you're doing 2 of these, are there stairs between them?
And so feel free to do more than one if you want. But that is going to be the challenge for 2 weeks from now, is to build your own apartment to go in a friend's apartment building. And I know this may be a challenge for some people. Is like, I really want to see what you can do with color. Mm-hmm. Really try to go out of your comfort zone when it comes to color, because I think that is going to that's one of the things that makes friends, right? Is the use of color.
And again, I mean, you all make beautiful mocks and work with color in such wonderful ways. If you end up getting stumped, try comparing, just try putting bricks together the way we just did. Like, do they go together?
Right.
You know, so if you have 26 colors in your piece, it may be a little more riotous than if you've got like 3 colors and an accent or 3 colors and highlights.
Well, and I mean, this is a great example. Look at this, you know, the pink and the blue in this, that's a lot of look, right?
Pink, turquoise, and lime.
So what did they decorate on the inside with? Black and white mostly.
So it just goes with it.
Right? So there's, you know...
Oh, and they're doing, look, yellow in the lamp. It's almost like a cyan, magenta, and yellow thing there.
So, and you can feel free to use minifigs and or mini dolls.
Rob Ketcherside has his Sig Fig mini doll.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be re-putting together my Sig Fig mini doll using the new Sebastian minifig because he's got my, I think, close to my skin tone.
So are you going to bleach your hair, or is the Sig Fig going to have different hair?
No, I'm going to bleach my hair. He's going to have my...
I don't know.
And Holly says, right, but there's still a primary and the rest are accents. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a great point. Well,
otherwise they fight, right?
So next time we make it back to this project, which will be, I guess, 3 weeks from now, when we come back to look at this project again, we will have made some progress, and we will be talking about structure and bases and how and what that will be. And in particular, we're going to be talking a little bit about mills, which is, sorry, I even had it up here and what it stands for, and I've already forgotten. It is Modular Integrated Landscaping System. So we will be talking a little bit about mills.
Who knew? And you know, I just realized, I was thinking, how am I going to keep all this together? We're packing things away. I'm just going to photograph the drawing with these plates on top of it, and that'll be a great record of the colors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Might I remind you all that that was what started the Holly hates lavender rumor, because I complained that lavender floor was one too many colors. I love that we've seized onto this, and it's now like a Twinkie Bricks legend.
Well, Holly, you have a wonderful, if not dare I say, expert level of experience with color. So we make fun of lavender, but the things you point out about color are always spot on.
Right. All right. Well, thanks everybody so much for joining us today. We are so glad that you are with us on this journey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it was fun to kind of share our process with you. It was a good time. So.
So we're going to miss you while we're away, but we're still going to be there. If you get a little hit that we're up on Instagram, maybe we'll pop in for a few minutes.
Yeah, definitely stop by. We'll do a couple of little pop-ins over there. And we will be back. Then our next show will be...
Well, you're on Twitch, right?
No, because when we get back, our first show will be on a Sunday.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, before. Okay. Yep.
So we will be. Where's my phone? We will be.
Thanks, Matthew.
Oh goodness! Sorry, I'm looking at.
And Brick Jedi, awesome! I'm so glad it worked out. We had a great time with it.
So our next show will be on Sunday, the 16th. Sunday, January 16th will be our next show.
Group show.
It'll be a Sunday show with our group. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Rob says, Holly, in retrospect, is there a different rumor you wish you started about yourself? All right, everybody.
You know what I heard?
What's that?
I heard that Holly is developing her own set, her own building system of blocks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be called Mego.
No, stop. That's a terrible rumor.
I like the current rumor.
All right, so until next time, friends, don't forget to hang on. Sorry, there we go. Don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask, get your vaccine or your booster, and we will see you in a little over a week. All right, bye everyone.
Happy building.